Another fabulous entrance. Yeah.
Boom. No one was hurt in the making.
We
of
got to
this
get
video.
like a wrap or some stickers for
Oh
this
yeah,
thing.
yeah. I can get sponsors like NASCAR. Yeah, absolutely. But as it speaks, I'm sponsored by the one and only Old North State Winery, and this is our virtual tasting. We taste every Thursday at 6 p.m. right here at Old North State, downtown Mount Airy, 308 North Main Street.
We actually taste all week long. We only record it every week on Wednesday.
That's a good point. We record on Wednesday, and we also taste international wines on Thursday. And of course, our wines that we make here at the winery, we taste all the time. So anytime you want to taste those, and we're open, come on in. You know, we used to be kind of firm on those no tastings after dinner started.
Yeah. No longer.
People, you want to do a tasting at 8 p.m.? Our bartenders are happy to help. Yep.
Here comes your tasting.
So if you, God forbid, eat somewhere else for dinner and want to come in and have a wine tasting afterwards, you can do that.
Sure.
Yeah. But on Thursdays, we specialize in international wines, and it's mainly just to get a better idea of the wine world as we know it. So Yadkin Valley wine people know Yadkin Valley wines very, very well. And we just want to have a little bit of global knowledge to go along with that. And it just makes us understand why our wines are so delicious here.
We enjoy a good view from all the people who came before us.
That's right, yeah. So
we would all do well to educate ourselves on the history of this beautiful platform.
That's right. And so with that being said, it would only make sense to start with some French wine, probably the most...
The cradle.
Hallowed ground.
The cradle.
Of wine. And
thank you.
No corks today, folks. We're doing twist-offs.
Fabulous.
And
as I call them, car wines.
Car wines, yes. Or motorcycle wines.
True, good point.
You
or
know?
bike wines.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Foot wines.
Oh, that's right. Now you bicycle a lot.
I haven't done all the rain. It's been hard to do it lately. And then the sun finally came out. It's 106 degrees. So I haven't been on my bike in a few days. Somehow Mrs. Wishart still finds a way to exercise every day. But
well, we're going to have about 3 more months of this beautiful, scorching hot weather, and then it'll be gone. But I kind of like it right now. I'm not done with it.
A lot of people do. A lot of people love this weather. I mean, I can't stand it.
It's 80s. It's not 90s, you know.
Today.
Yeah,
Today's nice.
Yeah.
Today's pleasant.
A little breeze going on. North Carolina's quite beautiful, you know.
Agreed. Especially this part of North Carolina.
Yeah.
I mean, we usually have a breeze.
We could probably hit the Virginia line with a ride.
Well, and all you have to do is drive a few miles any direction and get just a little elevation out of this valley. You always have that breeze and a little cooler. So.
That's true. Lisa and I rode up to Mom's and caught the sunset last night.
Nice.
It was beautiful, beautiful breeze, dogs running around, chasing rabbits.
You can't believe it. You can't beat it. I mean,
yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, we're supposed to ride to the river and have dinner and come back tonight. So.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Well, I think Tamisa and Miss Wishart and Lauren are going to spend the night. Isabel and I are going to come on back because we got a big morning. She's got driver's ed in the morning, and I got to get here and make all the foods and do all the orders. So we're just going to go up and cook and eat and leave, and then we're going to hang out and have time and have a big time.
That's fantastic. What a beautiful spot up there in Virginia.
Well, it'll be cool, and there'll be a breeze, and there'll be water. It'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. Well,
there might be some wine.
I'm sure there will be. If it's a Wishart, there's a wine.
There's a wine.
I guarantee it. So we are having 2 reds today, 2 what I would say flavorful reds. And Chef Chris here, he's a big fan of the Southern Rhone. We're stepping just outside of that into the Languedoc, which is just east of the Côte de Rhone, where we have all those beautiful Gigondas and Chateauneuf de Pape and Ventoux, all these wines that we absolutely adore that are Grenache Syrah based. This happens to be a Syrah primarily with Grenache and Cinsault. So a slightly different combination. Hecht and Bannier, they specialize, Bannier, I'm sorry, they specialize in blends. That's what they do. They do a lot of rosés, reds, and some whites, and they really specialize in the blending. Actually, as a matter of fact, Bannier was a blender for Veuve Clicquot, which is a huge deal.
Wow.
If you don't know, champagne is usually only 99% of all champagnes are not vintage. They are blended with different vintages to keep a house style, much like our winemaker does here.
Absolutely.
Tyler Phelps, he does blends to keep a style, like for a restless soul. You won't see a vintage on that. So the spikes and the valleys of vintages, you have a steady, with the blending each, you have a steady product from year to year. And so it's only natural that this guy would want to do blends.
And the French do that, but still within the vintage
Yeah, even
system.
within, yes.
You know, well, maybe not so much for like champagne, like Ed was talking about, but if you get a Rhone wine or a Languedoc wine, it's going to be blended for that reason. But not so much for the same reasons every time. I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the French are very terroir driven. They want the expression of that year in their wines. They could care less what last year tasted like. They want the expression of this year, but they want the whole expression, not just a Syrah. They want to blend the other grapes of the region to give a full expression and a balance, not just for the sake of having a vintage. If that's right.
Absolutely, and yes, you can have a vintage with a blend as long as they're all from the same vintage. So champagne's typically different vintages, and there's a whole lot of other different things we could get into, the Syrah system where you have different vintages, but this is of the same vintage, all 2018. Now, if you don't know, Southern Rhone in 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19, 5 straight years have been deemed excellent vintages. So we are getting delicious wines from this part of the world for 5 years straight. Knock on wood, maybe another year after that.
And I don't disagree with any of those
I don't
labels.
either.
I mean, I think those have been earned.
I totally agree. It's not just marketing. The proof is in the pudding.
As they say.
And this is your pudding right here, Chef. Now, this is certainly, it has a lot of the similar qualities that you'd expect from the Rhone, but I find these to be texturally not as gritty.
It's richer.
It's a more of a softer texture to Languedoc wines, which can be quite pleasing to many people. And I personally happen to like it quite a bit. When I first tasted this wine, I was really, I thought of you first because that's.
I really like it. I mean, the only thing is, the differentiation that I'm getting up front is it's not super dry on the first. It's more fruit on the front, drier in dissipation on the end, to where not all, a lot of the Rhone wines I enjoy are the opposite.
Yeah.
It's a lot drier on the front and the tannins on the back. But I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's the tannins are soft and integrated. It's not going to be overly dry, and this gives it a lot of versatility, particularly for this time of year. If you're wanting to have a red, now I will warn you, this has quite a bit of alcohol in it too.
Thank goodness.
Which so you get a lot of bang for your buck, so to speak. But wow, another under $20 red wine that we've been able to bring from across the ocean here that is really delivering well beyond its price point.
It most certainly is.
Mm-hmm.
That is, that's a real treat.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of wines from the Languedoc.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I have, but I've never been like, ooh, Languedoc.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
so
I think we're going to see more and
a
more
lot
of
of
that.
them in tastings, but not like I've never ordered a wine on a list from the Languedoc. So this helpful. Very helpful.
I think you're right because you don't see a Languedoc listed on many wine lists. So this is a great opportunity for people
You're out
this
there?
is going to be an emerging higher end market eventually. You're seeing more and more talent because it's so expensive or hard to get into Bordeaux, Burgundy as a winemaker or to own your own winery. So in order to do that, you're going to have to find more reasonable prices for your land or even just buying the grapes, in which these guys, they buy grapes and they buy some wines fermented just like we do. It reminds me so much of what we do here at Old North State. So it's almost like a sister wine to us in a sense. They probably don't know if they saw this, like, well, we're not your sister.
But they kind of look like
They
look like us.
But you know what I'm saying.
But especially it's hard for a
there's lot of
winery to grow. I
similarities.
mean, especially it's hard for a winery to grow. There's only so much land.
Yes.
There's only so much support. I mean, you only have so much room in your crush pad. You only have so much equipment. You only have so much capital to expand.
Right.
And the wine farming is so different than agriculture farming because it's like it's so much work
And it's
to
so
do
far out.
the posts and the planting and the pruning, and then you don't have anything to do for 3 months, and then there's really intense work for a few weeks, and then there's a lull again, and so to pay some people year round to work your vineyard, manage your vineyard, it's really hard to expand. And so it makes sense when you've kind of tapped out and you're selling everything you produce, you have to start buying.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't realize that. You just can't go out there and go, we're going to grow more grapes. I mean, you can't grow more grapes. I mean, but a lot of people slowly grow and there's one day they wake up and they're selling everything they bottle. And so but you normally don't have this. You have to have the same operating capital to grow as you did to start. So it's a natural progression for a winery, not to change their soul, but to add and complement what they already have. And I think that's part of a lot of the stories you see in these areas where they're just building on a great tradition, not so much changing what they do.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of farmers out there that don't want to make wine; they just want to grow grapes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the negotiants and people like this,
Great system.
where they're gonna, just like the big American success story was The Prisoner. The Prisoner is the most famous red wine. And it's an expensive red wine here in America, and it's completely, there was no acreage of vines, and it was a company that sold for $220 million and didn't have a vineyard. Had a place to blend wines. But, so, I mean, this is nothing out of the ordinary by any means. And it's just there's so many different ways to make wine in our world.
That's exactly, that's the truth.
And I think, the French are the perfect example. They show every different way you can do it. When you look at Bordeaux and Burgundy where, you might have people that only have one single bush, one vine. And of course, they can't make wine with one vine, so they sell their grapes to a negociant, and then they put, they'll maybe go to
They
Jester.
go around to the whole village and buy everybody.
Yeah.
They'll buy a bucket from every
Yep.
person with a trellis.
And then when they get enough, they can have enough to make a wine.
Kind of like the Mekong Village, where
They'll
everybody
come in.
brings their grapes into town, or they nominate one person to make the batch for that year of that particular varietal. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, and on the Mekong, they have about 300 farms, family farms, and there's only about 30 winemakers. So there's so many different ways to approach it, and there's no wrong way.
Which is funny for a country that's so stringent about all their rules. Mm-hmm. They really do embrace a lot of different things. So a lot of people are very frownish upon it, like, the French and their standards and their rules and this and that. But they're really, that's a qualitative thing, not a stylistic thing. I mean, they embrace all manner of growing and wine and these sort of things. They just want to make sure that what you say you're doing is what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's really what it boils down to.
You don't have a lot of that anymore, and it's good to have these qualitative standards.
Yeah, and a lot of people are trying to chip away at the structure of the classics, and without the classics, without that structure, how would you know where the baseline is? And places like Burgundy, like you were saying, Mekong sets the standard for Pinot Noirs and sets the standards for Chardonnays, and there's no question in that.
Well, because it was earned, not given.
That's
right.
right.
No one just woke up one day and bought their way into having Burgundies be the standard. They're the standard because they have been at the top of the game forever. No one will disagree with that. It's not that some of the newcomers aren't figuring this out. I mean, you're going to have Pinots that rival what they do in Burgundy. It's not about that. It's just they've been doing it for so long. You get the title.
Yeah, you're right. And and also in Burgundy, it's never going to change. 100 years from now, 300 years from now, it's going to be Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. And there is a stability that just kind of, it goes into the future. And in other places, they could rip up all their vines and plant Shiraz.
You see it all the time. They
But
say, it didn't work here.
But you can't do that in Burgundy. because they've had 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years, whatever, it goes back and back and back of knowing which grapes work best there. Chef, I'm sorry, we got way off track. What kind of food are you thinking about?
Well, we got to throw some Frenchy food at this, don't we? So
Yeah. What grows together goes
together. So I've got got some exciting stuff in today. We're starting to build. We have big chef's tables this weekend, both nights. So I'm starting to get my building blocks in. I've got the poussin from
South Carolina,
Palmetto Farms in Sumter, South Carolina. So I'm going to break those puppies. Well, they're not puppies. Those spring chickens down in the morning. And for this weekend's composition, I'm not going to need the legs, so I'm going to take the legs and do a little coq au vin with that.
Nice.
I think that'll be a beautiful. It is one of your favorites.
Well, we were just talking about,
and that's going to be a beautiful accompaniment with this.
We were talking about some of those wine festivals that I used to cater for when I was a chef down up the mountain, and Coq au vin was one that I did down here at the Bud Break Festival.
I remember springing out of the back of my truck.
That's right, Ricky
Bobby.
Yeah. We've got some great stories with employees. One that actually happened today too. That's another one that you probably won't hear about.
Why have we not kept notes on these things?
Yeah, we got a lot of
characters. Write a best-selling book.
It's wonderful. Well, anyway, Coq au vin. Wow, what a treat!
It is going to be a treat, and such a great, wonderful building block. And we're going to use some of our beautiful maitake mushrooms in our braising liquid, and it'll be a really rich dish, but not overwhelming. It's summertime, but I think it'll be a beautiful accompaniment.
Absolutely. Sign me up for 2, please.
You got it.
All right, so we have talked a little bit about the wine that we just drank, but I kind of veered off into other things. But you get the idea here. We've got a kind of an area that was known for blends. You've got a couple of guys that come in, they start their winery, and they are specialists in blending, and they are bringing an elevated talent level, in my opinion, to blending in that region. And, the more the merrier, as I say.
Absolutely.
When the talent pours in, just like, when restaurants and breweries open up across the street from us.
Raises the level of everyone in town.
It makes the winery better as well.
Yep.
So, and I think the Languedoc should be on your radar as the quality continues to go up. Okay. So now, let's head really south.
You got a
really
big plane ride here.
Yeah, we're going from the south of France all the way to the very southern part of Australia. And so this is beautiful, beautiful wine. It's called Jester Shiraz. And I don't know if y'all can see that darkness there. It's hard to tell on our little monitor.
You can't see, you can feel.
Yes, it is a beaut. And what a great little label there.
It is a classic label. Very clean lines, pretty colors of the gold and black. Can't go wrong.
Yep. And so this is actually on the very southern tip of the McLaren Vale. So it's actually basically these vines are coastal, and this is a family that came over from Australia, Matolo, in the 50s, and they were farming potatoes, things of that nature, and they finally got and realized, hey, we want to do wine. And if you don't know, there's been great wines being made and harvested since the mid-1800s in Australia. They have a really, as far as New World wines go, I would say Australia, maybe South Africa, although I like to consider South Africa more Old World because they're talking about from the 1500s. But anyway, aside from that, I would say in the New World, you've got to consider Australia some of the best high-end wines that are out there. Even though most of us kind of know of them as kind of entry-level stuff, their high-end stuff is just crazy.
And that's
delicious.
the truest thing ever. I mean, people, I think there's the low-end, not that there's anything wrong with it, but the low-end wine market in Australia was a blessing and a curse, because I don't know who the wine growing associations marketing people were, but boy, they took over the world there for a little
like
while.
the 80s and 90s.
They took over the world.
Shiraz was it.
I mean, Australian wines flooded the market, and people
And then
loved
Yellowtail came along.
Yellowtail ruined everything. But you know, back in the day, I mean, when you putting together a list or a dinner or all these things, I mean,
Shiraz was always on it.
You had to have,
Yeah.
and then blended the Shiraz cab,
Yeah.
the thing,
The
blend.
GSMs they do down there, excellent.
And they even do a Cote Roti blend in Australia. What was the maker we did? We did wine dinners with them several times. It was the
We did.
I'll think of
we
it
did
in a
Black Billy. Black Billy.
yeah, no,
came,
it wasn't
came from
black, but I
Australia.
mean, this was I'll think of it in a minute.
Okay.
That I used to have their wines on a list forever. I never took them off. But they even did a Cote Roti blend it was really cool. But Australian wines have always had a huge upper end presence
Yeah.
in the wine world that really has gone away. I mean, the wines haven't gone away. The presence has gone away, and I'm sure they're still out there. But
Malbec really hurt.
I think it.
Malbec lovers kind of shifted from Shiraz to Malbec.
In my understanding too, the growing wealth of China and Southeast Asia
They're buying.
kind of has been like they kind of are buying all the high end Australian wines, so they don't need as much of the expensive shipping and all the logistics there of coming to America.
Sure.
But just because we don't see it as much doesn't mean it's not going on.
Well, this Italian family comes over, and they really get cranking up about 2000, 2003, right around in there. And they've been making beautiful family-owned and operated, excellent wines that great full portfolio. So they have some Italian varietals, which is always lovely. You know, I love
Yeah,
Vermentino.
sure
They
can,
have a
yeah.
great Vermentino, and we're actually going to be doing an Italian white this Thursday in person. Yeah, I'm always trying to sprinkle in Italian white wines. I do love them so. And anyway, so you have an Italian family, doing a classic Shiraz, Australian Shiraz here. And just, if you get a chance, check out their whole portfolio, and maybe we'll dabble back into some as we go through these many videos that we'll be doing hopefully in the future. And boy, let's talk about this one though, the Shiraz. It is so dark fruit. It's so delicious.
It is
And
it's
it
over the top.
has a really just, it's not heavy though.
No, it's elegant. It's very elegant.
It's got real big flavors. You know you're drinking a serious wine, but it's not overwhelming to the palate. It's not cumbersome, and it has just a nice lifting acidity at the end.
Check out the legs on this thing.
Oh yeah, there's some serious alcohol in this, folks.
But it is an elegant drinking wine. This does not taste hot. This does not taste
it
like a
doesn't.
big alcohol
very
wine.
integrated.
This is one smooth character right
Yeah,
here.
those are slow going tears.
They are slow going. I tell you what, you put it in my head again. Knowing that an Italian family made this makes so much sense. That this does not taste like a traditional, a traditional over-the-top fruit Shiraz.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes you get those super tannin fruit bombs, not in a bad way,
Right.
because but you can tell a restrained Italian made
Yeah.
this. I mean,
Well, I
this
mean-
is very, very nice.
Well, when I tell people, that winemakers are a lot like chefs, and if you took a Southern chef, and I say Southern, I mean like South Carolina, North Carolina, and you take him or her up to Chicago or to Detroit, and they're, even if they're doing Chicago style food or Detroit style food or New York City style food, they are still going to have that
A
Southern
style.
in them.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
still
it'll
going to
come out.
show
Yeah,
through in
it'll
their
show
food.
the stylistic will
And I
come
think
out.
like what you're saying here, Chef, is you can taste a little bit of the Italian.
I swear you can.
Yeah,
And I
I
may
mean-
not have said that. I would have said this does. I honestly would have said this is not drinking like a traditional Syrah. I would have said that regardless, but now, but the Italian family really put it in perspective about why it does taste so elegant and soft and rounded. It's
Yeah.
not just a relentless wine.
Right.
And I mean relentless in a good way, because
Yeah.
I love Australia. I love the relentless
Sure.
nature of their grapes. Their
Yeah.
grapes are wild and intense and sun baked, and I just love them. But this is, it's just, they say, slow down.
Yeah. And
That
that's
makes
exactly
all
exactly the way I felt when I first tasted it, Chef. And the label really gives you a clue. Like they a little bit more
A
elegant
little
on the
more,
label.
yeah.
They're kind of giving you some clues and oftentimes a label will reflect what's in the bottle. Not always, because there's a certain amount of marketing involved. But of course, if you're going to have a label, you want it to match what's in it, because you want the right people buying your
True.
wine.
So true.
And I think the people that would be attracted to that kind of elegance are expecting that in their wine. So I think it delivers on both cases. And of course, again, the easy twist off.
God, you gotta love the twist.
You don't have to waste time going to that second bottle, reopening.
It's the easiest thing in the
Yeah.
world, because when you go into your second bottle, you're really ready for some convenience.
Mm.
And there it is, ready to open.
And once again, under $20, delivering delicious,
Oh, my
delicious.
Lord.
Chef, what are you going to pair with that?
We got a fun little thing here. So I've got some ground pork from our friends at Darcy Farms. Nick Hagen, always bringing us beautiful quality stuff. So I'm gonna make a little meatball. It's funny, I'm doing a little Italian meatball with our Australian.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. But it's gonna be pork based. We're gonna do a little egg. J. Roberts eggs, of course. Kai's hens, always the best.
Oh yeah, I just got another dozen from them today.
A little lusty mustard, give it a little. And we're gonna bake those off. We're gonna serve it with a little wedge of Carolina Moon, which is from Chapel Hill Creamery, a little brie style cheese. It'll be
That is
great. And we need
so
that.
good.
This big wine can handle big fat. And I think it's gonna be a great
Yeah,
combination.
yeah, I agree. I think
So how many meatballs and braised chicken legs are you and I gonna eat before we fix these boxes?
I feel bad for those people because I don't know if there'll be any left to make it to the
It's
box.
gonna have. We might have to change this up last minute.
Maybe cheese whiz and crackers for them.
Hey, it would still be cheese.
That's true. Well, cheese food, I think, is what they call it.
Spray cheese.
Yeah. Well, that is a elegant dining for sure. Over delivering once again.
Well, I mean, how can I not with these wines? I mean, you
That's
talk about over delivering.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Well, we do try to find value at every price point, and I think we found it twofold here. And we look forward to doing it again, I guess, again next week, right?
I don't see why not.
Well, if we don't see you in person, today's, while you're watching this, is probably Thursday. If we didn't see you today, we look forward to seeing you another time. It really has been nice seeing many of you come back out to the restaurant and enjoy a meal served by our beautiful staff, prepared by our beautiful staff.
Cleaned up by our beautiful staff.
That's
and
right.
Cleaned up by the beautiful staff you don't see in the kitchen.
Yep.
Hardworking people
That's
back
right.
there making it all work.
Yep, as
Cleaning and washing and scrubbing and making sure it's all ready. And they come in early and sweep and mop and dust. My youngest daughter's been in here washing windows and dusting and cleaning every day, and just a lot behind the scenes you don't see. We all have our favorite server, and of course Ed's pretty face, but a lot of folks behind the scenes that make this whole thing work.
yeah, if you didn't see me this past weekend, it was because I was in the kitchen cooking.
How much fun was that?
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome.
The whole weekend.
It was like having a vacation. I loved it, and I just love the chemistry with the kitchen crew, just pumping it out and making, getting great compliments on the food. It's awesome.
Nothing
Like I
bad.
say, Chef Chris and Becca were up on the mountain doing a 2-day event, which was very well received as well.
It was a big success all around, and we love the feeling. We pull back into the winery at night, all smiles here, everybody was happy, everybody,
Yeah.
and so it's just great. I mean, it was, that's one of the things you worry about. I know you worry about it when you're away.
Sure.
You always,
That's right,
falling over our people.
Yeah.
And so you're always got not that you don't trust them.
Yeah.
It's just, you just worry. You worry, you just worry how everything's gonna go. You don't want anybody to get run over. So it was a thrill to come back each night, and everything was great. Everybody and his smiling faces, even though they were busy, it was great.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
we had a great weekend, and we got another big one,
Sure,
Chef.
we got a
another
biggie.
big one. So if we don't
Biggie.
see you Thursday, well, we'll see you here on this video every week anyway. So, but come see us when you can, and we'll be here. And well, I guess we'll just sign out for now and see you next week.
Thank you for your support.
Bye.
We'll see you soon.